right-hand side of the screen are the items available for the catalog. Manufacturers, if they had printed catalogs, typically would have sections to their catalogs, and they would have tabs for each one of them. And that's what these over here are on the right-hand side, and they can color code them just like they would have color coded them in a printed catalog. If we pick on one of those, we see groups of items. For example, standard walls, because we're in the wall section, standard wall 12-inch, and as we pick on these, we see the items available in there. Could be just one item, it could be hundreds of items. It might be descriptions or comments for those items, so you have more information from the catalog available to you. Might be an image for it, and you can pick on the little button here to see a larger image of that, if that button is there. You can search for items, either search by name or description. For example, if I type W30, I see everything that contains W30 as an available item. If I type the word extend, for like extend style, as an example, it's anything that has in the name or the description for extend. And you can make this size over here of this larger or smaller. There's a blue line here. You hold down the left mouse button and then move it. But while you're still holding down the left mouse button, you can resize this. When you release the left mouse button, then it becomes a new size. And you can do that for the areas in here. If you want to make the tree smaller but see more items, you can do that. The image, make it smaller if you want to, so you see more of the items, whatever you want to. You also can auto hide this. So when it's checked, come over to the main order entry area, that automatically hides. Come back over to the right, it will appear, so you can select your item, and then when you have to select it, it will automatically hide. There are 3 ways to add items to your quote or order. On the right hand side is the list of all the items available for this catalog. Use the tabs to go to the section, go into and find the item that you want, either by searching for it or going through the list of items. When you find it, you can double click on it to add it to the grid down here, and wherever your cursor is currently highlighted is where it will be added to. So if I double click on this, it's added to the grid. Say for example that's already highlighted and I double click. If I do it again, it's going to prompt an overwrite. It asks me, do you wish to overwrite this? You choose yes. No, we'll just add it to the end, or cancel, just cancel adding it to the order. So I'll choose no, so it just appends it to the order. And for example, if I leave a row and double click an item, it will leave that row there. You also can drag and drop. Drag and drop is where you hold down with the left mouse button. If you highlight an item and without holding it down with the left mouse button and come to the grid, then release it, we'll add it to the grid. That's especially handy when you have modifications. Say for example we have this removable back panel. We want to add it to the first W3312 here. So hold it down and drag it and drop it. It will insert a row and add it to that. And you'll see the numbers change for that as well. So now this is 1.01 because it's a sub-item. It's an attachment or a modification to that cabinet. The other way to add items to the grid is to type them into the grid. So if you're used to the nomenclature of the catalog, you just type it in, for example, W303, and I find W3031 cabinet. Highlight it, press enter, adds it to the catalog. Base full door, 1, 2, narrows it down all the way. So just add it to the list. If you have an attachment, accessory, or mod, you can do that by having a plus sign in front of it. So I have the RBP up here that I already added. Let's add another one to this W4812. If I just type in plus RBP, finds it, press enter, it inserts a row, and attaches that stuff now to that cabinet. Some items from the manufacturer catalog might prompt you for additional information when you add them to your quote or order. And it's up to the manufacturer whether the prompts that ask you are required for quotes or for something that you only need to do for orders. In this example, I'm going to the talls oven cabinets, and I'm going to add in a tall oven cabinet. So it comes up and it prompts me for information. And depending on the catalog, it'll come up in 2 ways. And this is the first way. In a minute here, I'll show you the other way the information might come up. But it's asking us 3 questions. Enter the oven opening height in decimal inches, the width in decimal inches, and the distance from the floor to the bottom. So again, if this is a quote for this one, we don't need to do it because this information is not necessary in order to quote the job, but it is necessary in order to order the cabinets. So you just type in the information, and it's asking for it in decimal inches. Some prompts, depends, and again, it depends on the manufacturer, will have previews based on what the prompt that's asking you for. So that can be a hint to help you to go along with the question that's asking you. Click OK, and that information is now saved with that line. If you need to edit it, you just double click on the item. And I'm going to go to another cabinet here to show the other kind of prompts. This is the cabinet editor, and other videos will show, will explain the cabinet editor. But in this example, there's one prompt here for this particular hood. It's asking what lip to apply to the mantle edge. So in this example, it's actually a drop-down list that you choose from. So you just choose one of these from the list, select it, and it may or may not change the drawing that you're currently working on. When you're done, click OK. Editing items. The order entry grid is resizable. If you move your mouse cursor to the blue line here and hold down the left mouse button and keep it held down, and then when you release it, the grid will change in size. You can make it larger or smaller, whatever you prefer. You also have buttons over here on the right hand side to either make them equal or maximize the area. You can insert rows at any point. You can't insert rows in between an attachment in the cabinet or the item, but you can insert rows in between. I'm pressing the insert key on the keyboard to insert additional rows. There's also a button up here for insert rows and also for delete rows. Pick on the button, we'll delete the row. If the row is blank, we'll just go ahead and delete it. But if there's something selected, for example, I'm this 4812 and I choose delete, it's going to prompt me first. Are you sure you wish to delete that 4812 and the attachment accessory mods that go with it? We choose yes, they go away. And you can do that for multiple. I can highlight multiple and it'll show all of them at once. The number column is automatic, so as you add in new items, things will renumber automatically. Right now we have 1, 2, and 3. If I press enter, now it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Quantity is where you can modify the quantity for the item. And you can enter 0 for the item if you wish to not order it, but have it listed here. Maybe a customer changed their mind. You can just change the quantity to 0, so it won't actually go to the factory, but it's still in your quote and order here. Name column is here, which as you can see, you can change items. You can type over an item. If you need to change this, say you want to go from a wall 3012 to W3312, you can replace it. Columns are resizable, so if the name is much longer, you can change it. I'm just holding down the left mouse button to resize these. You have width, height, depth columns, and depending on the catalog, it will tell you if you can or cannot change the size for items. If I change this from 33 to 34, this catalog says you cannot increase the width for that item. But if you try 32, they do allow decrease width. Hinge, again, this is up to the manufacturer's catalog of what they will show, and this is on a per item basis, but Hinge will show you the options available for hinging for that particular cabinet. Same is true for finished side left and finished side right. The manufacturers determine what information is here, and some of these will automatically append modifications to the order. So now this finished side left. When I selected that, it's added as a modification or attachment to the item. If I try to delete that, highlight it, and choose delete row, it's going to say sorry, but you can't delete an automatic attachment. Finished side right is the same. Special instruction just allows you to type in anything special you want to mention to the manufacturer. In the order entry grid, when you scroll to the right, you see pricing information. And one thing you'll notice is that the number column, quantity, and name never scroll out of view. You'll always see those. But when we're scrolling left to right, things like the description, width, all those are hidden off to the left-hand side. You have the item list column, which is the list price from the manufacturer. You have the global list price, which is all the globals we've selected. Door style, wood species, drawer glides, things like that are the global pricing. Multiplier is your multiplier from the manufacturer. Say you get a 30% discount. Well, that would be a 0.7 multiplier. Well, now your dealer cost for this cabinet, adding the item list plus the global list times 0.7, gets you a dealer cost of $119.78. And say you decide you have a 75% markup. Well, now this is their selling price to your customer. And as you can see, changing these one by one would be tedious. And another video will show how to change this in the preferences. But if you come up to the multi-edit button, if we highlight this row and pick on multi-edit, we can see the information. It selects from the row we currently selected, and we could highlight a certain number of rows and change them, or we can say just change all the rows in the room. But we're going to change everybody from, because I selected that one row, now all the rows, if I pick on include, will change from what they currently are. So right now you can see everybody else is 0 and 0 for multiplier and markup. I select OK. Now everybody is updated to this new pricing, and the total prices change as well. If I add another item, it's not going to get that information because it's not part of the preferences. But again, go back, you can keep adding your items, adding, deleting, but come up to multi-edits, and because I didn't select a row that had that information already, they're blank. But if I do that, select any row, multi-edit, say do all rows to be the same, include them, pick OK, now they're updated as well. One other thing that's handy is if you want to get a sum of information, like in Excel, you can see the average price for something, the maximum, the minimum, the sum of all the numbers. If you right-click, if you highlight a range of cells, say if you want to know how much, say your dealer cost is for these cabinets up here, these 4 cabinets. All right, right-click, choose sum, and of course I'm gonna pull off the video sum here. Do sum. I can see the average price is $516.24. Count to 6 because there's 4 cabinets and 2 attachments and mods. But the sum of all that's $3,097.46. I can copy those cells and paste that into Excel if I wanted to. So it's a handy little feature to be able to use. And also in the right-click menu is copy rows, insert rows, so you can copy and paste cabinets or insert and delete rows. And price breakdown. Price breakdown allows you to see the pricing for any particular cabinet. I'll choose like this wall 3612 here. Right-click, choose price breakdown, and I see that the item list is $685, but I see the pricing for the globals so far. Some of these, like the door styles, $158 because it's $79 twice. $42.15 for the door panel species. This is all information from the manufacturer. So this allows you to see how particular globals and their options affect on a per cabinet basis if you wish to.